Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of our carrier build. In this one, we have a fun one for you. Stay tuned. We're going to be detailing the inside of our hangar up a little bit, as well as we are going to be making a little car lift for the tiny tractor we made a couple episodes back. So definitely stick around for that. I also have a little bit of a live section towards the end of the video where I'm going to show up the ship a little bit more in its current state, so you guys can kind of see where I have the ship currently, and that'll just kind of let you know more of where we're going to take it and stuff like that. But yeah, in the meantime, if you guys like these videos, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and come back for more. I post these carrier builds every Tuesday and every Saturday. There's a couple other extra Stormworks builds and videos that come out for fun in between. But yeah, if you like the build, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know to keep making these builds for you, and we are going to get right into the build, guys. All right, so I figured I'd spawn the ship in real quick and just kind of show you guys what we'd worked on in that last little clip. So I made a storm door here. This is really just going to be for bad weather. If you're in really, really bad weather, this is just going to kind of be better for protecting things inside the hangar. So it's also going to kind of be a little restrictive towards what we can put on the ceiling as far as lighting goes, piping goes, cranes, that kind of thing. So it's definitely something that we have to work around a little bit, but I think it's definitely useful. And it's almost kind of necessary. Later on, you'll see we'll get this thing in deeper water into some really, really big waves, and it's pretty stable, but it's very apparent that if you have anything in the back deck, it's probably going to get washed away. So that is something that I just kind of wanted to add a little bit extra protection and keep stuff from just being able to just get swept out of the hangar deck. But yeah, and beyond that, we're going to be decorating up the deck a little bit. Down here, we're going to be adding railings and lighting and a few other things. I'm going to add a dedicated spot for the tiny tractor that we have. And you guys will see that a little bit more. But again, later on in the video, we're going to go back, and I wanted to just kind of show off the ship. And a lot of you have really, really good suggestions for the ship, but to be honest, a lot of times the suggestions are something that I've thought about or has already been done to the ship. I know that's happened with a few of you. So I figured I'd just hop in and give you guys a little bit more up to date. Usually I keep these builds a couple weeks ahead, if that makes sense. I like to get ahead of myself, so you guys can make sure you get a video every single week, even if I don't get enough playtime or building time in it. And what I was explaining to a couple of the other people is a lot of times there's a lot of building in between the episodes too, but it's mostly like little details here and there, paint blocks, stuff that's not really good for a video. So I know a lot of people kind of wanted me to slow it down and talk a little bit more, so we'll try doing that, and we'll kind of do that with this build. I'll just try to talk a little bit more about what I'm working on here. And what I'm working on specifically right now is I'm trying to add some sort of structure underneath the deck. You know, it kind of makes sense. There's going to be a lot of weight up there, so it needs something more than just one block, and it'll also break up this really big black square space on the roof. So it'll make the hangar almost feel like it's more there's more areas to it, if that makes sense. Breaking up the ceiling and the floors is a pretty easy way to do this, and you can do it a couple of different ways. You can do it with slight elevation changes or changes in color or texture, things like that. But it's something that, you know, physics wise in Stormworks we don't need a structure here, but in real life you can think about the ship is going to have something definitely over the ceiling that is pretty heavy duty. And even in this case, honestly, this is pretty small, and it was because we're trying to cram a hangar door in behind it. So if you can imagine, typically these beams are probably going to be a lot closer, a lot more common, and they're also probably going to be a lot thicker. They're probably not going to just be like this one block. They'd probably be vertically stacked beams, something similar to like a floor joist where you see they're going to be taller than they are wider. And to also play off of that, adding structural feeling to this and making it seem stronger and heavier duty, like it's supporting weight, we're going to bring these beams all the way straight down to the floor. And that it will also kind of help section off the space. So it'll kind of give you a cue as for not necessarily different areas have different purposes, but it'll kind of give you a message of this is how much space you have and you're working with. And it makes it almost feel very finite, but in a way, I think it's very, very good because it also distinguishes where the lifts are and where the barge in the back is, and areas that are specifically going to be designed for refueling and repairs, stuff like that. So I think it's very useful, and it's especially, just little blocks like that are really, really good for adding a detail to a ship like this, especially a ship that is this size. And I know it's not huge in Stormworks terms, but when you get into these larger ships, you can play around a lot with the blocks, and you don't really need to be very, very concerned about the shapes. When a vehicle is small, the shapes matter very, very, very much. But in this, you're going to have a lot of different areas in a lot of different spaces. And the big thing for that, I think, is one, making them feel kind of congruent and that they go along with each other and they match. And the other thing I also think that is important for that is kind of making them feel like they're their own areas, as well as they are kind of interconnected and they work together. And the reason I say that is because from a role play perspective, I like to think about the different tasks you'll be doing. I'll show you off. I'll show off later the anchor room that I'm kind of working on, and it's not completely done. And it has no need to really even be its own room, but for the realism of the ship and for the role playing of the game, I add stuff like that. So that's just something that I think is also pretty useful, and I think a lot of people can kind of apply to most of their builds. And so I think one of the main things that I really try to focus on when I build is trying to make the ship feel realistic. And one of the problems with Stormworks is a lot of these features, they're not necessarily part of the game. I talk about adding sinks and freshwater systems, and you don't really need these, to be honest. You don't need them. But I think that that's part of what makes the role play of the game a little bit better and more realistic, and it makes the ships feel a lot more lived in. And with that, I think there's also, you got to kind of play with the mood and the tone and the spaces, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when we show off the ship. But when I speak of that, I'm talking about changing the color of the lights, and where windows are, where sunlight can reach, where barriers are, walls, doors. All these things are really, really important towards the function of the ship. And so I think if you're going for a specific aesthetic, that you should try to make that flow throughout the ship. In this specific case, we are building a carrier, so it's a military vessel. It's not really going to be built for comfort. It's going to be a lot of pipes everywhere, a lot of industrial stuff, a lot of electronics. In that there's going to be a lot of mechanical things, a lot of little nooks and crannies that you're going to have to get into to be able to fix things. And I think that is part of the fun that is Stormworks. And I know a lot of people don't do this, but I really, really enjoy doing the full interiors in this ship. And it's not that I actually enjoy the building process itself of those. I enjoy the feeling that it gives the ship. You can make these really big, massive, beautiful ships, and they look awesome from the outside. Most of them really do. But it takes away from it when you go to open a door and it's either an empty room or the door doesn't open. So I want you to be able to hop on the ship and just kind of run around and be like, what is all of this? And explore. And I almost say, I've said this to a few people, it's almost like I build these to play hide and seek on. So we'll talk about it a little bit more, but for now I'll let the time lapse roll a little bit more. Right here I'm just kind of working on a crane. This yellow line is a sensor, so it will kind of just those sensors are the center line for the ship, and it's for a stabilization system. So that's kind of why those are there. But the crane is going to go along that structural site or structural member on the ceiling. So I'll let that roll, and then we will hop back out of the time lapse, and I will talk a little bit more about it. Alright guys, so we are live in the world right now, and this is just something I kind of wanted to do. A lot of you ask a lot of questions about not the submarine, the aircraft carrier, and what we're going to do with it and stuff. This is the state of it currently, so this is where I'm at right now. You know, I always try to stay a little bit ahead of the build, so I just figured I'd show it off for you guys. I'm up in the cockpit. You can still see this is still kind of a mess. I have this nice little ballast screen I made, but anyways, we'll get moving. I made this nice little screen, you'll see, or window too, you'll see that, but we got the matching one down here, and I really like this. I think it looks very nice. It's got a nice cozy space to it and gives you a nice view of the deck. Just a small little deck over here too. Kind of interesting. Something different. Not really that useful. Oh yeah, this, forgot about this. This is probably going to go. I don't know if I like this. It is cool though. See, it's ready to go, so I mean, we could use it, but I don't know. I don't really like the placement of it. This hallway could be used for something probably much better, to be honest, and it appears that I am stuck. We'll just come in here. And so this is the hangar, and so you guys saw we worked on it quite a bit this episode, but we're not done. This is not done. This is not done in here either, but I'll just turn the lights on and kind of show you guys off what we got going on. Let me turn it to night, make it look a little bit better. But yeah, so it's a little dark, a little gloomy, but I like it. It's nice and pretty well lit up. It's dark and moody in the areas where you're not really going to be spending a lot of time, like over here, which is kind of what I like. And it looks like I need to light that up, but it's very dark. Let me turn this back on. But yeah, so this is the hangar. You see we got a cool little tool area here. Nice little workbench, charging station. And we have one over here too that kind of slides around wherever you need it. And I told you guys that we're going to be adding cranes. So we have this one. Very convenient. Kind of weird. You might ask, it's a little strange because it doesn't go all the way across, but you'll notice we added this door. And let me, I'll show this off to you guys real quick. This is more for like really bad weather. Looks like I gotta fix these paint blocks. That's alright. Again, it's a work in progress. But yeah, so now we have a lot more closed off of a space. You can still get out here. I have a little door that folds down, nice little stairwell. But that is not really the primary use. Got a nice little door here for the cargo, and you can still operate the ramp, which is pretty cool. So if I wanted, ramp still works perfectly fine. Just better for worse weather. And then going back to the crane, so this doesn't go over kind of because of the door, but that kind of works out because we put this lift here, and as I go down, you see it goes a couple floors, and we got this nice little storage area. This is going to be mostly for like warheads, bombs, that kind of thing, and it's armored all the way around. You can see. So, but what's cool is because this crane is right here, we can drop this crane straight down into the bottom deck of the boat, and we are pretty deep down in the water right here. Just give me 1 second, kind of show that off. But we are pretty much in the bottom of the hull. You can't really get, oh, that's a little further over. Can't really get much deeper down than this. There's only a block or two. So, kind of cool. And then, like I said, you got the crane right here, helps you lift the warheads. I gotta add better controls to the lift, but this is the next floor, and I have a cool little fridge here that we added. It's just a storage unit. It's a cold storage, so it'll get a lot colder than the outside air. And you can see it's still going down. It just went up a bit because we went in, but I have a jet fuels tank, and it's got fire suppression on both sides. And then back here is just kind of like a little, I don't know, back hallway. You can get into the hangar from up here, or from down here. Nice little wash sink. And then right here is like our water system. So most of the inside isn't really done, you guys will see. But down here we have our freshwater tank, our desalinators, our water heater. And so yeah, the ship will be able to produce its own water, and then it has hot water, hot fresh water that goes to all the sinks. So that sink over there is hot fresh water, and we'll add showers and stuff like that later. Right here is still the fuel in the middle, and I'll come around the other side. This is an interesting little spot, but this is where the blast door is. And forgive me guys, I know it's a little dark down here, but I just kind of wanted to show you. So I have this caged off, but this space is still usable, so I might turn this into storage or laundry or something like that. I don't know. And yes, you heard that right, laundry. I know Stormworks doesn't have laundry, but I like to fill the interiors. I like to make them feel as real as possible, so these are the kind of details that I like to think about. And then that locks in place. And then this was the car lift we made in this episode. So just kind of take the tractor out for a spin. You see, I made a few minor changes, but yeah, it's all mostly, the shape's mostly the same. But yeah, guys, I just kind of wanted to show this off to you. The rest of the ship is still pretty much not done. So we go down into the engine room. This is what the engine room's looking like so far. So it's got a ways to go. It's looking pretty good though. So we'll get it there. And then up here, this is the anchor room. This is still got to have a lot of work, and these decks are not done. So we got still quite a bit of space in here to fill up. So if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know, and we will keep building. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little update on the build, and this is kind of the current state of the ship. I think it's looking pretty good. Definitely needs a little bit more details, but yeah, guys,